Chapter 85 to 86. At this time, the injured Frost staggered toward Champa, his head lowered, his face extremely gloomy. He never imagined that he would be defeated with a single punch. Frost, renowned throughout the entire sixth universe, had never been taken down so quickly. Aside from the assassin hit, no one could defeat him in an instant. To make matters worse, that bastard didn't even give him a chance to transform. Useless trash. It's really embarrassing to be kicked out of the ring without even holding on for a second. It would be a huge humiliation for the entire sixth universe if a guy like you was allowed to live on. Champa spat, his anger palpable. He was ready to destroy Frost. Champa-sama, you don't need to be so angry, Vados intervened. Although we lost the first fight, there are still 4 fights to come. Our trump card is Hit. As long as Hit is not defeated, our sixth universe still has great hopes to win. If a contestant were destroyed just after losing, it would seem too petty and would affect the morale of the other fighters. She didn't want Champa to make such a mistake. Champa glanced coldly at Frost. Ch! That's what you said. Let's hope we win. On the other side, Beerus couldn't be happier. The first fight was a decisive victory, giving the seventh universe a strong start. Good job, Trunks. You did not disappoint me. Just work hard like this and try to get rid of all the contestants in the sixth universe in one go, Beerus shouted to Trunks in the ring, his face beaming with excitement. Great, Trunks! That's my son! Bulma cheered. Of course Mai was by her side. Oh, I didn't expect Trunks to strike so decisively. Frost didn't show his full strength, but Trunks didn't give him a chance to. This kind of personality seems completely different from Vegeta and Goku, Number 21 remarked in surprise. Most Saiyans tended to be vain with their power, preferring to challenge strong opponents rather than ending fights quickly. But Trunks was different. He didn't give his opponent a chance to show their full strength, finishing the fight in an instant. Of course, if Trunks wasn't decisive enough, he would have died long ago, Goten said lightly. He knew that the Trunks in the future timeline was the only Saiyan who did not die. And because he was the only fighter left, he had no room for negligence. If he made a mistake, the consequences would be dire for Earth. Vados declared the winner of the first match, and the second fight began. Cabba took the initiative to challenge Trunks. He knew Trunks was strong, and with his current state, he couldn't win. But he was interested in Trunks's transformation and hoped to gain some insights. Additionally, he hoped Caulifla and Kale could discover Trunks' weaknesses through his fight. In the second match, Cabba from the 6th universe will challenge Trunks from the 7th universe. If the two are ready, the second round will start immediately, Vados announced. Mr. Trunks, please advise. Cabba bowed and said politely in the ring. In order to win this fight, I will not be polite. This fight is very important to me, Trunks replied firmly. Although he might not deal with Cabba as cruelly as he did with Frost just now, because this guy was completely different from Frost. But he had to win this round. He clenched his fists and instantly transformed into Super Saiyan 2. Even against the weakest opponent, he would fight with all his strength, a habit formed from his future timeline where any negligence could lead to Earth's destruction. This had also formed his character of never being sloppy. Hey, transform into Super Saiyan 2, Trunks called to Cabba. Since Cabba was a Saiyan from the 6th universe and could participate in this level of competition, he should be able to become Super Saiyan 2. But Cabba shook his head. Sorry, Saiyans from our 6th universe can't become like this. This form is called Super Saiyan. It's really too powerful, Cabba said with a wry smile, realizing the gap between the Saiyans of the 6th and 7th universes. Feeling Trunks' overwhelming aura, he knew he couldn't win. What? Your Saiyans from the 6th universe can't even transform into Super Saiyan? Trunks was surprised. Everyone in the 7th universe auditorium was shocked too, as Super Saiyan had become commonplace for them. For them, as long as it was Saiyan, it was normal for him to become Super Saiyan. Yes. How did your Saiyans from the 7th universe become Super Saiyan? Cabba asked curiously. Sorry, we're each other's opponents now. I can't tell you how to become a Super Saiyan. It's up to you to figure it out on your own. I don't make my opponent stronger to make the fight more difficult for me. Trunks replied, shaking his head. He wouldn't do such a foolish thing. All right, then come on. Kaba assumed a fighting posture similar to Vegeta's. Excuse me? Trunks' body disappeared like a ghost. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Kaba. Without holding back, he used all his strength and speed. Boom! Before Kaba could react, Trunks' knee slammed into his lower abdomen, sending Kaba flying. Trunks jumped up, surpassing Kaba in an instant, and clasped his hands together, smashing them heavily on Kaba's back. Boom! Rumble! Kaba's body hit the ring like a meteorite. The solid arena was also smashed into a huge hole. Kaba couldn't stand up after being hit twice. Vados started the countdown. When the 8th second was counted, Kaba still couldn't stand up. The second match between Universe 6 and Universe 7 is also won by the contestant Trunks, Vados announced, making Champa's face even more livid, as ugly as a pig's liver. Great, Trunks, that's it. Just defeat all those guys from the 6th universe, Beerus exclaimed, sitting up excitedly. After praising Trunks, he looked at Champa. Yo, Champa, is this the power of your 6th universe mortals? It's simply too weak. Thank you for being so complacent before. Now it seems that the weakest contestant in our universe can knock them all out. Alas, your universe is naturally garbage. The level of your mortals can only reach this level. Facing Beerus's ridicule, Champa could only grit his teeth in anger but couldn't refute. 6th universe lost both rounds, and almost all their fighters were defeated destructively. Frost and Kaba didn't even have a chance to fight back. Vados, what the hell is going on here? Didn't I tell you before that I'm looking for the most powerful mortals in our 6th universe? But what kind of trash did you find for the competition? Champa blamed Vados with a livid face. He even wondered if Vados was sent by Beerus to sabotage him. How could she choose such a rubbish team for the contest? Champa-sama, Frost and Kaba are relatively powerful fighters in the 6th universe. It can only be said that the fighters of the 7th universe are stronger, Vados said, slightly aggrieved. She had chosen well-known fighters from the 6th universe, but the 7th universe was obviously stronger. The key to their final victory was Hit. As long as Hit did not lose, then their 6th universe was not considered at a loss. Champa could only suppress his anger. Getting angry now or killing these trash would only make Beerus laugh more happily. Next, which of you two will fight? Champa asked, glancing at Caulifla and Kale. Hit, their ace contestant, had to be kept until the end. But he didn't have high hopes for the two women in front of him. Frost and Kaba were easily defeated by Trunks, and these two women were also Saiyan, likely not much stronger. Eep! Kale pulled Caulifla's arm with a look of fear. Don't be afraid, Kale. I think I've found the weakness of Saiyan from the 7th universe. I will fight this 3rd round. I will definitely beat him, Caulifla said arrogantly. She had spoken to them so arrogantly before she couldn't back down now. Fear of fighting had never been her style. If she stepped down now, it would be too embarrassing. She had to beat the Saiyans from the 7th universe and show everyone that Saiyans in their 6th universe were not weak. Hey, then you will fight in the 3rd match. If all of you guys lose, I will completely wipe out your planet without hesitation, Champa said coldly. This weak race had no right to exist. Caulifla jumped onto the ring. Vados's voice sounded again. Next is the 3rd match where Caulifla from the 6th universe challenges Trunks from the 7th universe. If the two contestants are ready, the fight will start now. Caulifla looked at Trunks smugly. I have seen all your offensive methods clearly, so in this match I will definitely defeat you. By the way, Saiyans from our 6th universe are the most powerful existence. Trunks wasn't sure where the woman's confidence came from. Don't blame me for speaking directly. Your Saiyans from the 6th universe don't even know what Super Saiyan is. With all due respect, I don't think you have the strength to defeat me, he replied lightly. Although this girl claimed to have seen through his attacking methods just now. So what if she saw through his methods? Without absolute strength and speed, she still had no chance of victory. "Don't get too full of yourself. I will let you feel the power of this lady," Caulifla roared, her expression changing instantly. She clenched her fists, and silver-white flames erupted from her body. Her basic combat power was still relatively strong, at least reaching the level of 5 or 6 million. But this combat power was insignificant compared to Super Saiyan 2 Trunks. "Get down on the ground, you arrogant bastard!" Caulifla jumped up, exerting all her strength and punching directly at Trunks. But Trunks' expression didn't change. Her strength and speed were too weak. He grabbed her fist, pushed upwards, did a backflip, and kicked Caulifla's abdomen heavily, sending her body flying. Ha! Trunks didn't hesitate. He shot an energy blast with one hand, hitting Caulifla's chest. TN. He wanted to feel something other than power. Piss. Boom! The moment the energy blast exploded, Caulifla's body was blown away, landing heavily outside the ring. "Bastards! Trash! A bunch of useless trash!" Champa's complexion turned as ugly as a pig's liver. He didn't expect that the first 3 contestants couldn't last for half a minute. The gap made the anger in his heart start to burn. Before the battle started, these guys became more complacent and arrogant than the other, threatening that they alone could defeat all the contestants from the 7th universe. But the 3 of them together didn't last even a minute. "Who? Is the gap in mortals from both universes so big?" Vados was also surprised. Meanwhile, Kale on the side changed. Sister! Seeing Caulifla lying on the ground with a painful expression, Kale's expression changed suddenly. The timidity just now had completely disappeared and turned into cold anger. "Damn it! How dare you hurt my sister! I won't let you go!" A deep voice came out word by word from her throat. A very powerful aura erupted from Kale's body, making Trunks on the ring excited. How is this possible? Such powerful Kai, and it's so violent. Trunks raised his head, his gaze fixed on Kale in the 6th universe's audience, his expression a mix of surprise and determination. The 2 Saiyans he fought just now were incredibly weak. In fact, even without transforming into a Super Saiyan, he could have easily eliminated them. Yet he never held back in battle, immediately assuming his Super Saiyan 2 form. But now, the Saiyan woman before him suddenly emanated an overwhelmingly powerful force that made him feel a great danger. What? What a powerful ki! What happened to that Saiyan girl from the 6th universe? Krillin and the others on the 7th universe's stands were equally astonished. They could clearly sense the powerful aura emanating from Kale. "This is interesting. That girl may be the strongest contestant in the 6th universe," Beerus said, his curiosity piqued. Kale's sudden surge of power also surprised Champa. "Vados, what's going on here? Why does this Saiyan have such a powerful force? Completely different from the other 2, Champa asked, bewildered. Before, that other Saiyan woman was very confident. But in just a few seconds, she was defeated by that Trunks of the 7th universe. On the contrary, this Saiyan, who looked timid from the beginning to the end, who seemed to have no strength, unexpectedly burst out such a powerful force in her body. Champa-sama, I'm not sure either. Maybe it was her hidden power, or some emotion triggered this latent strength, Vados speculated. Crackle. "Damn bastard, how dare you hurt my sister? This is absolutely unforgivable!" Kale clenched her fists tightly, a terrifying aura erupting from her body as she glared at Trunks with ferocious eyes. It seemed she wanted to tear him apart. "Kale? How is this possible?" Both Caulifla and Kaba were shocked. They never imagined Kale harbored such immense power. "Vados, get her on stage," Champa ordered impatiently, eager to see what Kale could do. It seemed that this Kale would bring them an unexpected battle before Hit entered the field. "Yes, Champa-sama," Vados nodded. "In the next match, Kale from the 6th universe will challenge Trunks from the 7th universe," Vados announced. Kale's body instantly appeared before Trunks, her face contorted with rage, teeth bared, looking almost alien. "I will never let you go," she growled, her voice filled with venom. "The situation seems bad." Trunks frowned, sensing the imminent threat. Kale began to gradually lose her sanity, her heartbeat becoming erratic. The pupils in her eyes expanded, as if she were an ancient beast awakening. "Ah!" she roared, green flames erupting around her body. The entire arena trembled, her headband blowing away, her body swelling rapidly with muscle growth. "Whis, what's happening to that girl?" After feeling Kale's powerful aura and constantly expanding body, Beerus raised his eyebrows slightly and then asked in surprise, "She looks like a wild animal that's lost its mind." He didn't expect this girl to become like this, but thinking about it, it seemed to be a bit similar to Goten's transformation. But Goten could completely control his own sanity, and this Saiyan girl seemed to be controlled by her own power. She had totally lost her mind. Beerus-sama. This might be a mutated Super Saiyan. It's similar to Goten's transformation, but Goten can control his own consciousness. Kale from the 6th universe can't. Perhaps this is her first time transforming, Whis explained calmly. "It's unbelievable that there's such a Saiyan in the 6th universe." Krillin and the others were astonished. Kale's burst of ki was almost identical to Goten's, indicating she might be of the same type of Saiyan. Both were talented. As for Goten, there were no surprises, because he knew that Kale also possessed the bloodline of a legendary Super Saiyan. Her bloodline seems to be weaker than that of Broly. It should have been easy for her to control this power. Maybe because of her timid personality, she can't control this power perfectly. "It's unbelievable. Kale is actually so powerful," Kaba said, shocked. Kale, usually timid, was now displaying immense power. She far surpassed all of them. It looked like Kale was the strongest Saiyan warrior in their 6th universe. "Wow, wow, wow, you are amazing, Kale. Keep increasing your strength and defeat all those guys in the 7th universe." Caulifla didn't care about the pain on her body at this time, and began to cheer for Kale crazily. She really didn't expect that the timid girl who usually needed to be protected by her could become so powerful after freaking out. What a surprise! This girl's strength is incredible. It seems Hit won't need to fight at all. Kale can eliminate all the contestants in the 7th universe by herself. The happiest and most excited at this time was naturally Champa. A Saiyan from their universe was actually so powerful. It seemed that this game was already in the bag for their universe. Champa-sama, it might be too early to say that. While Kale has indeed exploded with unimaginable power, she can't control it. According to the rules, if she kills a 7th universe contestant, the victory will go to the 7th universe. Seeing the excited Champa, Vados reminded. If Kale couldn't control her own strength, it was very likely that she would end up killing Trunks. And as the result of the rules they said earlier, they would end up losing the fight. This was not a good thing. Roar! In the ring, Kale continued to roar madly. Her black hair turned green, her eyes empty and pale. The appearance at this moment was very similar to that of Broly back then, but unlike Broly, Kale couldn't control her mind. "Hey, hey, hey, hey! Now I will kill you!" Kale growled at Trunks, her control over her sanity weakening as her power grew. At this time, Kale had almost become drunk on her power and was simply trigger-happy to kill anyone in her way. "I won't lose to you!" Trunks gritted his teeth, releasing more power. Blue lightning crackled around him as he leaped and punched Kale in the chest, but his punch had no effect. "It's too outrageous. Her chest is as hard as steel." Trunks was skeptical, his attacks ineffective. He punched her in the chest, but she was unharmed. Ha! Trunks threw a combination of punches, but the ending was still the same. His full attack couldn't cause any damage to Kale at all. She didn't even budge. "Hateful!" Final flash! Trunks retreated back and then directly fired Kai Blast at Kale. After the dazzling light faded, Kale was still unharmed. Then she walked towards Trunks step by step with a devil-like bloodthirsty arc in the corner of her mouth. I don't believe you have no weaknesses. Trunks leaped again, kicking Kale's chest, but she was unmoved. Kale directly punched Trunks heavily. Boom! The terrifying power instantly cracked the hard ground. Then Kale kicked Trunks directly in the chest. Barf! A mouthful of blood spewed out of the mouth, and Trunks also returned to its normal form. The gap was too vast to bridge. That woman is too strong. Even if I transform into my hunting form, I won't be able to beat her, Android 21 admitted, frowning. Goten, Trunks tried his best. He can't beat that monster. Next, it's up to you, Beerus said solemnly. Trunks had already eliminated 3 contestants from the 6th universe. His performance was already quite outstanding. And that Kale was indeed not an existence that Trunks could handle. Only Goten could defeat that woman. Yeah, I got it. Goten nodded seriously. The next opponents, Kale and Hit, were beyond Majin Buu and Android 21's capabilities. It was time for him to step up. After seeing Goten nod, Beerus turned to Vados. This 4th round, we admit defeat. The next contestant for the 7th universe is Goten. Although by admitting defeat he would be ridiculed by Champa, he would not allow Trunks to be killed. Okay, Vados nodded, declaring the match to be over. But Kale wasn't done with Trunks. As he stood up, she punched him again. If the bowl-shaped fist hit, even if Trunks didn't die on the spot, he probably would have to lie in bed for a long time. It's over! Trunks suddenly looked terrified. Looking at the ever-expanding fist in the pupil, Trunks felt instantly surrounded by death. Just as her fist neared, a figure appeared, catching Kale's punch effortlessly. Boom! Goten! Seeing Goten suddenly appearing in front of him, Trunks was overjoyed. He thought he was going to die. Okay, Trunks, you've done enough. Go and rest now. Leave the rest to me, Goten said, turning to Kale. I'll play with you next. And the scene where Goten caught Kale's punch calmly surprised Champa and the others. Are you kidding me? Vados. Isn't that kid the same one I saw in Beerus's temple? At that time, he couldn't even walk steadily. How did he catch Kale's fist just now? Champa asked, stunned. At that time, he was so determined to compete with Beerus in a tournament after seeing the clumsy gestures of this kid and that bald dwarf in the god realm. Champa-sama, both Goten and Krillin were wearing Whis-specific weight training suits at that time, also subjected to their own extreme gravity, Vados explained. What? You bastard? Such an important thing. Why didn't you tell me at that time? Champa's expression changed drastically. He was now sure this Vados must be an undercover agent sent by Beerus. If she told him about this kind of thing at the time, maybe he would not have been so impulsive and challenged Beerus to a fight. Vados, this bastard, was too much. It felt like she was digging a hole and waiting for him to jump. Champa-sama, don't blame me for this. I always wanted to find a chance to remind you, but you didn't give me a chance at all, Vados said innocently. Champa could only frown and watch the ring, hoping Kale could power up again and eliminate the 7th universe boy. Trunks returned to the stage, saying to Beerus with an embarrassed face, Sorry, Beerus-sama, I lost. You've done well, Trunks. Leave it to Goten. Whis, help Trunks heal. Beerus said to Trunks with a rare moment of kindness. Obviously, Trunks's performance just now had won his approval. Yes, Beerus-sama. In the arena, Kale grinned, resembling Broly. She punched Goten, who met her with a punch of his own. Boom! The arena was destroyed by the shockwave as they clashed, testing each other's strength. Both bared their teeth, continually increasing their power, the ground trembling and lightning crackling around them.